Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. I am back. I am back. It is good to be back. Hopefully, everybody can hear me loud and clear. Hopefully, I still remember how to stream. It has been a minute. And as you guys are filling in here and hanging out with me this afternoon, and I'll wait for everybody to kind of jump in, but I am very, very appreciative of all of the thoughts, prayers, messages, phone calls, communication since since things went south Christmas, and so to be back here in March is a blessing, and just really, really grateful and thankful for everybody in this community. The power of prayer is real. The power of love and friendship and the whole bit. I'm not here to be sappy. I really do want to talk ball, but I couldn't do this and start this off without just sending my best and my thanks. Everybody here in the messages, even in the chat, coming in. I'm trying to remember how to use the damn app, the whole bit, but I really have missed you guys. Seeing Chillian here and so many people in this like I said, this community. I mean, there's a lot we talk about, lean on each other, and discuss, either to get away, escape. I know a lot of people enjoy being in this forum on Fanatic Perspective, where we try to keep it rational, just talk and discuss as fans. And so to while there's so many awesome content creators and people holding it down and keeping up everything, to not have this platform for us, I'm also sorry, right? And I know there's been so much that's gone on and went down, that you know is normally the place where we come and gather and just like I always say, have group therapy sessions. So just to be back here today is a blessing and humbling. And I was like, you know what, this Friday afternoon, if you're getting off work, if you're listening in, please tap in. So again, I see my man Edward Stoker in here. This is dope. This is dope. This is dope. And Mary, thank you for checking on me. I really, really appreciate it. And just to be here is incredible. Wow, we already got. I haven't even said anything yet. Thank you, Dimple Wonder Man. Thank you, thank you. No, the family is. We are in a much better place. I wouldn't be back on here if things weren't better. So yeah, yeah. No, I'm gonna definitely get into basketball. I'm gonna start on football as we just concluded the third practice. The Texas Longhorns football team. Things have been so crazy that I didn't even touch on the bowl game or anything. I haven't talked about anything. But this super chat, I mean, you are far too kind, Double Wonder. I can't thank you enough just to help the channel get back running. So I love you guys. I really do. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and thank you. And I will get to basketball in a second, but because we have a game tonight against TCU, right? 8:30. Before that will be Iowa State, Kansas. But we need to get it back in blood against TCU after they pulled that nonsense in Fort Worth. But again, Dimple, want to thank you. I do want to. I do plan on attending the spring game, but I'll make that official in the next few weeks. But in terms of football, um, they just wrapped up their third practice, and I've been seeing all these reports and everything. I want to get straight to talking my stuff and just getting my you know 10,000-foot view thoughts without really being as dialed in as I normally am. I don't see why this shouldn't be one of the best offenses in the country next year. I'm going to start right there. Steve Sarkisian, what he is known to be as a guru offensively, as a coach, as a quarterback developer, what you have coming back on the offensive line. I don't remember the last time Texas returned. I felt this confident in both my tackles, Kelvin Banks, Christian Jones. I have a Mackey Award candidate and JT Sanders, Jatavian Sanders, who needs to be showcased next year. I'm coming straight out with heat, bro. Like, there's no. I'm sorry. We've been here now. We're going into year 3. Okay, we got. We started turning some things around last season. The quarterback needed to get some experience. I understand, what the media is pushing about Arch versus Quinn, all that. No, Quinn got reps last year. Y'all told me that we needed to get experience from the quarterback in order to start winning. Well, he got the experience. I don't want to have year 3 with Stark with year 3 with a brand new starting quarterback to start the season. No, let's get those reps. Those reps last season need to mean something. X came back. Okay. I got AD Mitchell from Georgia. I have young speed in here, DeAndre Moore, Jonte Cook, Brendan Thompson, redshirted, a whole bit. Jordan Whittington is running it back again. And if we're running 11 personnel, a lot more like I hope we do, he should be deadly in the slot. Running backs. I mean, where do you want to begin? Where's the weakness on the offense? Somebody tell me. I don't understand why this team shouldn't have high expectations offensively in 2023. I'll get to the defense and overall team expectations of what I have. But right now, I'm looking at this team, and this is not even really Kool-Aid. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, when you look at this roster top to bottom, because it's more than just talent. It's more than just talent. They have to gel. People have to accept their roles. Not everybody. I mean, when you list off all the names on the roster, I've already rattled off a bunch. Some people are going to have to take a more complimentary or supplementary role. That's cool. But when I talk about these pieces, health willing, I haven't even mentioned Isaiah Nair. That's a lot of people that we have at our disposal to be very, very dangerous offensively and be able to play in a multitude of ways, multiple personnel packages. I know you lose a Bijan Robinson. I know you lose a Roschon Johnson. That is not to be ignored. That is not to be ignored. But with the combination of experience and youth that brings in some things you didn't have access to last year, what am I missing on why because I was told, okay, Steve, we got to, building blocks. At what point are we just like, yo, we got to run out here and roll? Seriously. Last year in the Big 12, I heard we're actually going to the SEC now since I've been out. What's good, y'all? This is not even Kool-Aid. Do y'all agree with me? Are y'all in a different boat? Like, where are we standing on this? I'm talking strictly offensive football right now. We will get to the defense in a second. Where do y'all fall on that? So running backs aren't proven. Brooks is the only one who's showing anything. That's very fair. I would argue Keelan in his role, if he remains in his role, is proven for what he does. But I believe he needs to remain in that role. But how concerned should I be about the running backs if I expect the offensive line to be better? And it's not like the talent. I mean, Cedric Baxter is as good as you can ask for in a freshman running back. But I understand the concern from an experience standpoint. I do understand that. Pass protection, understanding the assignments, vision, game moving at a certain speed. We understand those things. So that's fair for the running backs. But at what point are we also leaning more on our passing game and Steve Sarkisian and this experienced coaching staff? By the way, I understand we added the coach from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think his name is Chris Jackson to coach the receivers for Marion. But if you look at the rest of the staff, Tashard Choice is even in year 2. The rest of the staff been here. Like, this is as much continuity as we've had at Texas. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Culture should be setting in. I think even if you read some of the practice reports from some of the awesome paid sites that are out there, guys are starting to police themselves more and command a certain tempo, command a certain accountability in practice. I've heard a lot of good things in that regard. Guys are a lot more vocal, but not just vocal, but instructionally vocal for the young guys. Those are good. So Is that going to translate to wins? That's my question. And the type of productivity that we need, that we should expect with the way they've recruited. I know they haven't been perfect, but they've recruited as well as I can expect for considering their win-loss record. I've really been impressed. This last group, I know I wasn't on here to comment on some of the guys we pulled in by signing day in February, but this has been impressive. And I think again, it's you get AD Mitchell out the portal. His resume in the playoffs speaks for himself when he's been healthy at Georgia, as well as his physical skill set. So you got three veterans. You could argue that, let's say you go Mitchell, Whittington, Worthy, Whittington, Casey Kane, or though everybody's played, regardless of what combination I use. Throw Nayer in there. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get this thing off of here. Hope I didn't lose you guys. But no, I mean point standing. We need to be in an area and an aspect offensively where we're here to dominate football games, in my opinion. Let's see. Did y'all lose me? I know it's been a minute. Y'all still hear me? Do. So Forrest? Yeah, I don't know what that was. I think something connected to the stream. Hopefully y'all can hear me okay. Um, let's see. Will the receivers finally have a rotation? I think you want something in rhythm. I think you want something in rhythm where you're you have your guys, your main guys. I mean, Sark's not the guy. It's not going to be like musical chairs like we had in the Tom Herman era where they were rotating too much. But I do think that they'll be just fine. They'll be just fine with even the guys that they have and having some guys, leveraged in certain areas and spots. I'm just saying, don't forget about people, right? And understand matchups and things of that sort. But with the main horses we should have, health willing again. And I let it off earlier, but I'm gonna restate this. The tight end needs to be featured, Jatavian Sanders. I mean, that's a guy matchup wise that how many teams on our schedule will even have the resources to deal with him in all seriousness? Because one of the things that was a frustration for me last year that I hope we don't, piggyback ourselves or handicap ourselves this year is his utilization in the red zone on the outside. We threw a fade to him in Alabama. Kool-Aid McKinstry freaking tackled Jatavian Sanders in the end zone. I feel like that was the last time we threw a fade to the brother. And when you have people like that with their athletic ability and what he does, why not play that game, right? And so I understand all the weapons we have at receiver. They're dope. We want to have guys showcase so that we start to have a factory here and build up that momentum. I'm on board. I want to see Jatavian Sanders showcased. That's the one person who I don't know how other teams are going to match up with him if he's used the proper way. And I was very impressed with his growth from his first year in the program to his second year in the program. He has some things to improve on. I think he can get better with more consistency. but that's most young players. But to have that type of growth from year one to year two, you're telling me you're serious. So I need the coaches to match that with featuring him a little bit more. I saw a brilliant rapport with him and Quinn Ewers early in the season, and I didn't see him even get those same opportunities. And I'm not talking about throwing a brother a random tight end screen in the second quarter and then he doesn't get a target until the fourth. Let's make sure that that tight end, that piece, because what he can do in the middle of the field and on the outside in the red zone only makes it easier for all the other guys, especially the speed guys, getting one-on-ones. Seriously. It makes life easier for everybody else. And that's not to say um that the other guys can't cook and on their own with what Sark does schematically, because we now have more guys to help supplement that room. But when you watch the playoffs and you see, Brock Bowers and some of these guys that get matched up on these linebackers and these safeties and they have no clue what to do with them. I mean, I'm spamming Sanders. That's just me. That's just me. Let me discuss with you. I've been waiting a minute to talk and you know discuss all these things. Hey, you know what though, Isaac? For Casey Kane's sake, he picked a good time to have a good game in the bowl game and show that he can be something, especially as a bigger guy. I don't think he's holding off AD either. I mean, AD didn't come here to wait behind anybody, right? But from a depth perspective, let's rock. Uh, by the way, I think you guys see the sponsorship link, Last Stand Hats, laststandhats.com/fanatic, fanatic10 at checkout, 10% off. It's been a minute, and I appreciate my Last Stand Hats family. Mike was checking in on me consistently over my break, and just like the rest of you guys. So really, really thankful for them. Those of you guys who were placing orders and buying merch while in my absence, y'all some real runs, honestly. So really, really appreciate it. David Williams said, Jatavian Sanders caught 54 passes, 5 scores, 613. Had he been more of a focus, those numbers could have easily. I agree. Let's see. But David's comment earlier, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And you'll have those 50+ yard plays with the other guys off ease if people are so worried about what Sanders is doing in the middle of the field and dedicating resources to stop him. I think the inconsistency in which Sark implements cheat codes for his best players, such as Sanders, is one thing that has surprised me. I mean, I think this is a factual comment and inconsistencies, because there's been times where Sark has, shown us that he'll spam and isolate somebody all day long. There's been times where Sark has done his job and it has been an execution issue. But when we think about some of the scripting in the second half and some of the decisions and even personnel, we want to see a little bit more consistency in year 3. And I want to see Sark. This kind of leads me into the quarterback discussion. If we invested all those snaps and time into a guy as talented as Quinn Ewers, and he's done some of the things to transform his body, take his job seriously, get entrenched in the playbook, to take ownership of the offense, and you guys tell me all the time how complicated Steve Sarkisian's offense is. And, while we've clearly seen quarterbacks in college football flourish over the years in Sark's offense, it does take a certain level of understanding. We get that. With that being said, I want to see Sark roll into another season with a returning starter that he has, and he has that opportunity with Quinn Ewers. I'm so glad Arch Manning is here. Professional effort, Manning pedigree, high football IQ, super talented, all-world freshman prospect here pushing the room. God bless. But I hope this is like a 2020 young Bryce Young coming into the room with Mac Jones there that was, had started the end of the year after Tua got hurt, and Sark has some time with Mac, and Bryce pushes the room and is competition, but Mac clearly is the guy that they're going to roll with, has the experience, and the 2020 Bama's off and running. In terms of the quarterback thing, I'm not saying in terms of we gonna go undefeated and all that type of stuff. I'm just talking about the quarterback. When it comes to Quinn Ewers, let's take advantage, Sark, of that experience that he has. Now, I heard, and y'all catch me up on the Malik Murphy stuff, please, because I heard the brother is not 100%, and that he is, he hasn't been practicing. I guess in the media sessions he's dressing, but he's limited, and it's some complications due to the ankle. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, in the comments. Y'all need to catch me up on this stuff, but that's really sad. I was really sad to see that because I want this brother to have every opportunity to show what he can do and develop into that, another guy that's pushing the room and be the QB2. I believe that he was heading into the Alamo Bowl, right? So these are reps too. I mean, now if he's limited and he's still out there to go, I'm not sure, but y'all let me know what's up with Malik. That's tough to hear though. That's really, really tough to hear. Let me try to catch up on the chat. I appreciate y'all in here. We 90 deep right now, and just not being active the last few months is a blessing. Let's see. AJ, I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back. Jump on later. Tap in, baby. Oh, there's matchup examples all over football, but the best in the business right now is Travis Kelce, hands down. I mean, look at the look at the matchups that they get, and that's at the NFL level. I'm just saying there's similarities you can do in terms of matchups. I'm not saying JT is Travis Kelce, but you can get some of those matchups. He re-aggravated the ankle. Well, hopefully that spring break is enough to get back. This is a contract year for X. Am I wrong? This is a contract year for X. I mean, we know how well that brother can run. We know the production, quite frankly, that X has put up his first 2 years at Texas, regardless of all the drama and the drops and this and that and the third. X's production his first 2 years at Texas is up there with anybody in the program, quite frankly. What we need to see now is, and I'm not saying you got to be a locker room leader or anything like that. I've heard some good things, but what I do think and what I do believe you can do is lead by example. And that's really from a consistency standpoint. If I'm an NFL scout, I want to see X, broken hand or not, being stronger at the point of attack with the football, right? And that's before we get to some of the tracking stuff. But just in terms of that maniacal focus on every single snap and every single route, because when he's locked in, his route running, his footwork, his technical in and out of the breaks is some of the best in college football. I mean, he would be up there with some NFL guys route running wise. And that also requires a lot of football IQ. So X is a smart football player too. And I think he's shown physicality in his run blocking. We know that. But I need to see, again, broken hand or not. All right, brother, we'll give you the pass. Successful PR by Texas there. I need to see you track a ball downfield better, okay? Because, people talk about deep ball accuracy, and I think we started going a little too overboard on the quarterback, but deep ball accuracy is a quarterback and a receiver thing. Because you see some brothers that can't throw deep, but they somehow complete these passes because their receivers are able just to go get it. So we need to see him be a little bit stronger at the point of attack. We can't basket catch everything. We can't allow the ball to get in our bodies every single time. I know it's a little bit more difficult if you have something that's bothering you in your hand to catch a ball clean, especially when there's a little bit of heat on it or there's weather challenges. I understand all that. But we got to fight a little bit more. And that's what the NFL wants, because if he can show that and show that consistency, he's fine. But not everything's going to be clean, schemed up, wide open in Sark's offense. There's going to be times where, and this goes for everybody, where people are just going to have to flat out win one-on-ones. Okay, they had the defense for this. We've got to make a play, whether that's Quinn getting outside the pocket. That's why I'm glad he's slimming his body down so he can be able to use his legs. He's not an athlete. But if he's able to, hey, I got to make a play and I got to throw it to somebody, and there may be somebody on my man's hip, but I got to fight through contact and get the football and fight through people. That's part of football. Not everything, the coaches can't do everything for y'all every single play. That's what I'm saying. Like, talent wise, the combination of talent with the continuity we have in this coaching staff. I don't want to hear more the excuses and all that. This should be a period of excitement where we want to be one of the top offenses in the country. We want to be a stellar offensive program this season. 3 practices in, they're going to spring break. So, coming out of that spring break as some guys get their healthy bodies, I think they went padded practice today. As they get back and get rolling, this is where offensively we should be a dynamic unit, assuming, and somebody brought this up about the running backs and how unproven they are, but assuming that we're getting, I'm not going to expect Bijan level production, but as a collective unit, assuming we're still one of the better groups in the country with what should be an excellent offensive line group, in my opinion, sky's the limit with this crew. Sky's the limit. So I spent some time on offense. Y'all, thank y'all in the chat for everything here. And again, I know people are coming in and probably surprised to see my face right now, in all seriousness, but it's been dope. Isaac, for me, that would be DeAndre Moore, who was one of our later signees and is there early enrolling on campus, and I believe running with the twos from what I've heard. But my guy would be, and Jonte Cook's right there, right? And a lot of these young guys. I just think with DeAndre Moore, I'm getting somebody that's extremely polished. And I think he has some of that technical polish that Xavier Worthy, quite frankly, had coming in terms of route tree, understanding of man versus zone, the speed of the game not being too fast. So that would be my pick. But I mean, honestly, we have some guys here coming in that are, Jonte Cook's right there in terms of being a little bit more ready to go than other guys. Yeah, that's what I mentioned earlier, Michael Sproul, is with the running backs, the inexperience is going to come with pass protection, understanding certain assignments, speed of the game, running with the football. Like, that's one of the easiest translatable things from high school to college to NFL. But it's all the other nuances of the position. That's why Roschon Johnson's going to be highly regarded for NFL teams, because he's going to be able to pick up soon and be quarterback offense friendly in an NFL scheme, right? And so when you look at the responsibilities of what that back is going to be asked to do, especially in a Sark offense where we do use our backs a lot, empty formations, blocking wise, it's not just, it's not like some of the veer and shoot things where, you really only have 2 assignments. DJ Campbell, there's really no excuses for him, especially with Cole Hudson out, right? Now I've heard that Hayden Connor's getting some reps at center to help push Jake Majors. But when you look at those 2 guard spots, DJ Campbell, such a force in the run game. And we saw that, the last few games he played, Baylor, Washington game, and his physicality. Really with DJ, it's just getting that pass protection up there and his feet where they need to be, because he has pressure on him too. All the guards are going to have pressure on them because there's a lot of people in the room. And credit to Kyle Flood for the way he's recruited, and credit to Kyle Flood for the competition he's put in that room. So if you're not up to snuff in terms of understanding assignments, or you get a little bit handsy where they feel like you're going to be an issue for us penalty wise, that could be a setback for DJ. But hopefully he's able to overcome those things, mature, and hold that spot down, because athletically and just physicality wise, he's ideally what you want at guard for this team. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah, they're already saying with Kelvin Banks, he's now at the point where it's set it and forget it at left tackle. Um, I think I anticipate him to be all Big 12 preseason and put his case together for where he's on top of draft boards by the end of the year for 20, what would that be? The end of 2024, or 2025 draft, excuse me, because yeah, I'll have one more year. So that's how highly regarded Kelvin Banks should be. Before I move over to the defense, and I'm going to touch on defense, some outlook stuff, and then we'll talk hoops, because I do want to get into the whole Rodney Terry conversation. Texas playing today in the Big 12 semifinals for men's basketball in Kansas City against TCU. And I believe it's 6, so probably right now, Iowa State and Kansas. And by the way, shout out to Bill Self. Get well soon, Bill Self, with his health challenges as well. I know he's on the enemy side with Kansas, but you always don't want to see people dealing with health challenges, especially at any point, but especially this time of the year. All right, moving over to defense. So we're kind of starting. I'll kind of start secondary first. So let me pull this up here. Um, I'm starting secondary first because I feel like that area is where we really, you talk about what Texas used to be from a DBU perspective and all those type of things. I'm not saying we're DBU right now, obviously, but um, getting a Catalan from Arkansas, that's an outstanding free agent pickup from the portal. A guy that was at once, considered one of the best safeties in college football. And I know he had some of the upper body stuff with the pec and all those types of things. But if he's right and he can show to the NFL that he can stay healthy and the medical won't be an issue moving forward, that is a hell of an asset to have in your defense. And you put him next to Bug Thompson. Bug finished the year strong as hell, in my opinion. And Bug was actually one of the better safeties in the game that you could ask for. That's a hell of a pairing in the back end right there, right? And then we start talking about Jahdae Barron, Ryan Watts, the experience that Terrence Brooks got last year, and that's before I'm even touching my freshman. I feel as good about this group in terms of excitement of their complementary skill sets. I know that those guys are guys that know how to communicate, and I thought that was something that improved immensely last year with this Texas team, and I wasn't able to give them a lot of credit. Gavin Holmes as well, from Wake Forest coming in, so who was very, very highly regarded and an underrated portal pickup. That's so now we're starting to talk about depth and competition for some of these spots, right? And as well as Bug played, if I know what I can get out of Catalan, um, man, it's that's a group where I smile. I smile at the possibilities of what this could be. And I don't have to say, hey, right off the bat, a guy like Malik Murph or Malik Muhammad, who I'm thrilled to have, but I don't have to put all this stuff on his plate. These guys can come along. And what y'all laughing about? Talking about pause. Somebody said something. Did I say something suspect? Forgive me, brothers. I've been gone. And sisters here. It's good to be back. and just wrap with y'all. Derek Williams is in here. I mean, y'all, this the secondary is nuts. Potentially, they gotta produce. We hype stuff up every year at Texas, and this is Kool-Aid season. Um, but in all seriousness, like I really like a lot of these guys. I mean, y'all talk about Michael Taff all the time, but hey, that's a guy that, you know, experience wise, communication wise, again, good depth players, guys that have played football and help my room, help my team. So this whole group, I know Pete, there's a lot of talk about BJ Allen and him coming along a little bit slowly, but look, I'm gonna be blunt. Texas is getting back to where they need to be competition wise and talent wise. When some people get left behind, and I'm not saying that in particular for the case for him right now, he can always catch up. But if you're not coming in on your A game and we're hitting the portal and getting talent and talent's coming in here and performing and guys are developing now, then those of you who fall behind, whether it's in the weight room, whether it's not picking up the concepts or what the coaches are asking for, you will be left behind. Did anybody pay attention to the performances at the NFL Combine by some of these guys and their physical testing, their explosive testing? That's what we're trying to get Texas back to now, in all seriousness. Because, when people start talking about, hey, the field feels smaller and guys are, the Georgias of the world and these elite defenses, there's competition that they have going on at the weight room level to push each other day in, day out. It's not even just on the field, so to speak. It's every single day. And fighting for reps, fighting for snaps. We haven't always had that type of dog eat dog mentality on our football team. And I feel like, some of these position groups are starting to see that. I really believe that. Hey, if you guys are here, it's the first time I think I've said this, hit the like button for me. I got to start going again. We got to start getting this thing popping. So please hit the like button for brothers. Support the channel. I really appreciate it. Right now we're talking Texas defense. And so, as I'm back. So hit the like button. I see a super chat here. Let's get to the super chat. Welcome back. If we don't get in the championship game this year, we will average Big 12 with very little to no weaknesses. I mean, that should be the expectation. I was told last year was the year before the year. If they're not thinking to go and compete for the Big 12 this year, especially in their last season where we need to ride out in fashion, then what are we doing this for? Why are we having these lives in the off season and gassing this team up and all this type of talent here? And this is year 3 for the coaching staff. That should be the expectation. Thank you for the super chat, man. It's good to be back. Had a lot of stuff to get off my chest. Let me see what David got to say. I don't think the issue will be talent this year. I'm more concerned about coaching philosophy. Coach Kwiatkowski needs to play more press coverage, and he needs to teach playing the ball, not the man. I do think there are guys that are better suited for his scheme now, and they've helped with that. I do think it's twofold with how they're playing it. Clearly, they had guys playing more of the man, honestly, and there were some ball tracking issues. That's been a problem at Texas for years. But I didn't think it was this gross issue last year. I think we just lost opportunities to create big plays, right? And so I think the transition to that needs to be the opportunity to really, really find the football, seek the football, and be opportunistic where we have those chances. And look, the expectation should be high defensively. Ryan Watts, Jalen Ford, who's Jalen Ford has a case, in my opinion. He would have my vote to be Big 12 preseason Defensive Player of the Year returning. Um, they didn't come back here to go 8-5. They came back here to win the Big 12. They came back here to improve their stock and have an even better season. They didn't come back here to fall back. So if I have those type of people on my defense returning, uh, at really all three levels, if you really think about all three levels, T'Vondre Sweat comes back up front, right? You have Ford on the second level come back in the linebackers. You have Ryan Watts come back in the secondary. You bring in some veteran guys as well between Holmes and Catalog, and Buggs a veteran. I mean, so I see people bringing up the the GP stuff. That's how I know I'm back on in a Texas conversation when we are talking about Gary Patterson already and who gets credit, and now GP is or PK is already back on the hot seat because y'all think Gary Patterson ran the whole defense last year. He had an impact, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Gary Patterson had an impact, and I think his impact was also felt culturally around the program, and some things he was able, some tidbits he was able to offer here and there. But make no mistake about it, we were running Pete Kwiatkowski's scheme last year, and he was the one that had a headset on calling the defense. So it's funny to come back to this, and we're still having these conversations. I am more than thankful for Gary Patterson's contributions, and I know the moment anything goes wrong defensively, whether justified or not on PK, y'all are gonna see. You see, GP's not around. That's why he didn't get a pick, and that's why we gave up a touch. I already know. But can we be fair in evaluating somebody instead of trying to push agenda? I understand we have our minds made up when we like certain coaches and we don't like other people because the product was so bad year one of PK. But we have to acknowledge that he was still the same person doing these things in year two. And we have to acknowledge that as he got a better feel for his players and his staff and players developed. I mean, again, look at the names of the guys that came back on defense. I mean, are we saying that they came back for GP or did they, I mean, what did they come back for? But I already know, regardless of what I say right now, what's up, Nash? Regardless of what I say, y'all still gonna stick with GP or bust narrative. So I've missed this. I've missed this because I see the internal back and forth going on in the comment section right now. Oh man. Hey Stokey, your cousin gonna go play for Coach Prime up there in Boulder? My man. My man. Yeah, I'm trying to win this conference and bounce. And by the way, they're gonna have heat for us. So we can we at least be a mentally tough football team? See, my thing is with the reason why I brought the combine is I was listening to the brother Nolan Smith, and he put such a strong emphasis on their competition in the weight room and how one of the biggest things that Georgia was competing against themselves. Let me tell you right now. Now that Texas is leaving the Big 12, there's a different energy that's going to come from all these schools on the schedule, especially when we go to Houston. These people are out for blood, okay? And we knew that last year. This year's a different energy, okay? Everybody, look, when I was in Denver, Colorado this past week for business. I told some people, that play college football around the area that have no, they're nowhere near Texas. I'm not talking about Colorado Buffaloes. And they couldn't wait to do horns down. They couldn't wait to tell me how much Texas sucked. They couldn't wait to tell me that we were making the worst decision ever going to the SEC. And they aren't even Big 12 people. That's just regular college football random American fans. So what do you think the energy is going to be in the Big 12? So my thing is, when people are coming with that type of heat, that should be expected. Mentally, we got to be competing against our own selves inside the locker room and these things, because we're going to have close games. We're going to have games where we got to gut it out. Georgia had to sweat it out against Mizzou. But when shit got real, it came down to, we are competing against our own selves for our own standards. I don't care about y'all. I don't care about Tech anymore. I don't care about Kansas and Kansas State and all these other. No, we are competing against our own, because they hate us. Regard, they are going to come in on level 10 energy all these games, especially Houston. I'm telling y'all right now, that game is going to be nasty business in Houston. Texas needs to have the mentality that we are going in. Quinn Ewers, I'm competing against my own self. I'm competing against my own standards, because we the villains, we the bad guys. It is what it is. I'm tired of this whole, well, they got up for us. Well, they got up for us. Are we serious about being our best selves or what? Here at Texas. This is a no excuses chat. This is a no excuses offseason. I know what these brothers are capable of. I know what this coaching staff is capable of. We got to put it all together and have a program and culture of sheer competitiveness. Jonte Cook should be worrying about competing with who has we all just eating together. We ain't out here worrying about, they so and so is game for us today. Nah, no more. No more. We're trying to get guys to the league. We're trying to have a factor again. Because when those Georgia guys were talking like that at the combine, that really caught my attention in terms of mentality. Because they were getting heat every game. They were the defending national champions. Now they're back-to-back champions. But that competition was internal with their own selves. And that has to permeate from the coaching staff too. It's a two-way street. So Tracy, let me go back to something you mentioned. You mentioned, what's good, champ? How you doing? Surprise live today. What's good? Yes, this hat is a snapback. Laststandhats.com/fanatic. Go check us out. Go check us out. Absolutely right, Nash. For the Empire of Star Wars. Dominate accordingly. I agree with this. No, PK doesn't have any excuses this year. I agree with this. But I thought his group did more than enough for us to win a lot of football games last year. I'm not trying to separate the team or anything, but we don't run the most simplified defense either. There's a lot of complexities in what he does. And he didn't have the most, there's still questions on the defense. There's questions at edge. I like what I have in Barron Sorrell, and I like what I have talent-wise with the Colton Bassets of the world coming in. And some Jamon Tapp and Justice Finkley getting bigger, stronger, and being more acclimated in the program. Clearly, it was enough for them to be able to move on from Ovia Gofu and everything. But just like we were talking about with the running backs being unproven, the same goes for the edge guys. And having that consistency and having a larger rotation to where we can, go out there and really put some heat on quarterbacks. I actually thought the pass rush at times last year was, I know we weren't always getting sacks and all these type of things, but the pressures were improving. I know we had some challenges in the bowl game at certain times throughout that game, but overall, net, the players that we've added to this defense, Tracy, you're talking about the linebackers, and I know the youth is scary in the middle. Um, when you look at guys like Anthony Hill and Leona Leifau and Samaje Burrell and I think some of those guys are actually going to surprise and be a little bit better, but they're just going to have to be protected, and Jalen Ford is just going to have to be a dog. And guys like David Benda, Jet Bush. Let me know if I'm missing anybody. And that's an area, by the way, if the coaches don't feel some type of way at the end of the spring, going to Marley's question earlier about where could we still look in the portal, I could see them still looking at linebacker in the portal or edge if they're not really cool where they fall at the end, because we look at what happened in the portal last year after the spring. People that were really talented just jumped in all of a sudden. So there's going to be some positions where it's like, oh, you know what, we might be able to supplement that. But if we're going to do that, we need to get people that can play. I'm not trying to go in the portal and get some Jags. Oh yeah, Maurice Blackwell, aka Game Speed, on this channel. I want to get to basketball here in a sec, but anything else we're missing? Yes, that's my boy Game Speed, Blackwell. We only know how to play one way. See, people like Blackwell, they demand to be on the field by the way they play, because he just plays with violence and he moves at he's doing everything 100%. Coaches love that, and I love it. I love it. So you're prime to take off for us. What's good, everybody? Man, it's so good to be. Tracy, I haven't said one word about the officials, and I don't plan on it. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm not saying nothing about the officials today, brother. My thing is, if we're not going to hit the portal every year for edges, and granted, we've tried. It's not for a lack of effort, right? I mean, we can go back to the whole Mathis thing last year and some other guys we've been in the mix for, but that's where development comes in, and they have a lot of options. They decided to put Jure Bledsoe on ice last year, and I believe he's one of those guys that they can play at multiple positions, and he can do some things. Well, if he's the football player that and plays with the violence that people are saying behind the scenes, then they should be able to find a spot for him somewhere in this rotation. Because I do feel good about my interior defensive line, the size we have, adding the Sadir Mitchell in there. Like I said, T'Vondre Sweat coming back. I have a veteran now in Byron Murphy. Alfred Collins is in a contract year, going to be playing and getting after it. I mean, Vernon Broughton, that's a deep group. And then you throw in a Sadir Mitchell. And so, yeah, you're talking about guys like Ross and some other guys that, might be behind right now that need to figure out how to get up there and catch up. But when you have that type of interior talent there, that's really going to be supplemental in terms of, helping those guys on the outside get one-on-ones. I was told last year too, by the way, that TCU made the playoffs and had all their success because they had all these veterans and all these returning starters. So when we have I want to see my returning people cook like their returning people cooked. I don't want to hear excuses about, well, this guy's getting passed by this young guy and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. In year 3, there's no excuses off season. There's things that are reasons. Like if you start losing a whole bunch of people for injury for whatever reason, then that's totally different. But we have our guys out there, and like that one thing we like to do last year. That's how I know I'm back on YouTube and I'm bringing this up. One thing that we like to do last year was the whole rotate in a whole bunch of people on defense in like the third series of the game. Y'all remember that? We just have like bat the whole second team linebackers and D line in the game and stuff like that. Hopefully now we're in a better place in this program to where if they still want to do that, which I don't ever agree with, but if they want to rotate with that, whatever their methodology is, they're just bigger, stronger, faster out there when they do that. They have more guys that they can plug and play. And we already talked about it in the secondary. People fighting like crazy for snaps. Let me get back to the chat here. Defensive line does have questions, but I think they will have a better unit at edge with Burke, Tapp, Finkley. Their body should be more college ready. I'm hoping that Ethan Burke's body can get there by the time the to be back. Let's see. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. I'm gonna hold my shot, my thoughts for Prime right now. Um, I'm I'm gonna stick to Texas for right now, but I have obviously a lot of thoughts on Coach Prime. A lot of thoughts. I mean, that's cream of rice. I agree. Um, that's the whole roster, honestly. Multiple positions. That's the whole roster. But I mean, honestly, first and foremost, if we can, I'd love to see just for the kid that Alfred is. I want to see Alfred playing the best level possible. I don't want to have he's not doing any. I want to see these guys maximized. I know what he's capable of. I know what he's capable of. But but you can't wait forever on guys either, and I get that. Mm-mm-mm. All right, let's get to basketball real quick before I catch up out of here. Um, lot of talk about the coaching aspect in the long term with Rodney Terry. And I think it is a very, very tough place that Texas is in. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to Rodney Terry for the unbelievable coaching job and effort he's done with this group after all the Chris Beard situation. And coaches in all sports talk about eliminating distractions. I don't think there's a bigger possible distraction you can have than what Texas went through, all things considered. And to help, and I know this is an older group, but to still get that buy-in from those older guys and to play with the professional effort nightly in the Big 12. I know they had their struggles on the court in the first half of games starting. They've had their struggles with adjustments throughout some games. But they've played for RT. There's no question about that, in my opinion. And this has been one of the most successful Texas basketball seasons we've had. And that includes Chris Beard's 1 year here. That includes the Shaka Smart era. That includes, the last few years of Rick Barnes going into the 2010s, this has been one of the most successful seasons on the court. We're talking about a team that's battling for a 2 seed, Texas. And right there in that, like, think about that. With all of what they've been through and where they've consistently been able to stay ranked, whether it's top 10, 11, what have you, but to still be in this range of where they will be, and right now they've got guys that are banged up. They've got guys that have been inconsistent on the court and need to step up and play better. But despite all that, they're still winning basketball games. And so um, I'm very grateful for Rodney Terry and what he has given this basketball program and the lift that they've gotten. My thing is this: I'm not anti looking at other coaches and making sure that we have the best possible coach for the program long term moving forward. I do think Texas has to consider that. Chris Del Conte has to consider that. But damn it, some of the names that I've heard thrown around as possible Texas, I'm like, how is this person more qualified than Rodney Terry is at this point? Like, it needs to be, if you're replacing Rodney Terry, if you're going to do that, it needs to be a big dog. It needs to be somebody where there is no question that this person is the most qualified person to move this program moving forward. And that is considering what we have with, our fantastic 5-star freshmen coming in next season, 2 of them, that Rodney Terry was able to help keep here on board. But I'm not moving off Rodney Terry unless I'm getting a home run, bona fide, this guy's been to Final Fours, this guy's won a natty type coach. Because some of the names I've heard thrown around, I'm like, when I look at that person's resume and I put it up against what Rodney Terry has done, and yes, next year, even with those 2 guys coming in, this roster, we know we have a lot of guys leaving, right? A lot of seniors and super seniors that have been the backbone of the roster since Chris Beard got here, and what he was able to do in the portal. But the way RT has held the crew together, you have to be optimistic about the message and vision he could also sell in the transfer portal himself to supplement that talent coming in. Yes, if Jay Wright's on the board, sign me up for Jay Wright. No disrespect to Rodney Terry. But that's the level of coach I'm talking about. Don't sell me on somebody from I'm not even going to go in, because anytime I do that, that person ends up getting the job. So I'm not going to do that. But don't sell me on some of these other names that have been thrown out around here and then act like Rodney, when we start comparing the resumes. And I understand people have their preferences in terms of basketball coach philosophically. We all do. I have my preference. And I wanted to do, when the whole Shaka thing played out, I wanted to actually have a real coaching search. They got fixated and wanted to go Chris Beard. And obviously he was a great candidate at the time and to come in, and his ties already to the program. I get that. But if we're going to do a true search, that should include Rodney Terry. And it should be somebody that has to be a damn good basketball coach with a high profile resume if you're going to hand the program over to that person. If not, let's see what we can do with Rodney Terry, because it's hard to do what he did. It's hard. And he's legit. Like, when's the last time Texas was a 2 seed in the tournament? Chris Beard didn't do that last year with a bunch of older guys. And granted, yes, it was year 1, but Chris Beard also, when hired, said that night expectations are that we're a Monday night basketball team. That's what he said, day 1. And they were a top 5 team day 1 in the polls. and we went into the tournament last year, I believe, as a 4 seed. Um, so we were 3 or 4 seed, whatever seed we were last year, but we weren't 2. And I'm grateful for what Rodney Terry has done. Um, and yes, David Williams, great point. If you're running it back with RT, we are going to have to evaluate the assistants and making sure that we have, the best schematic guys out there helping us, with out of timeout plays, different coverages on defense. Clearly, the defensive accountability has waned at times this year with Chris Beard gone. No question about that. That was something where we were probably the best defensive team in college basketball before Chris Beard is absence. No doubt about that. Um, but still getting to this point, getting the kids to respond is a remarkable job by Coach Terry, in my opinion. Thanks, Dustin. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. It's good to be back, man. But hey, I mean, you never know what could happen. I don't think Timmy Allen's playing tonight, from what I've heard. I hope he's okay, at least by it's time to go tournament time next week for the big one. But I don't think he's playing tonight. I would love to beat TCU tonight, get to the Big 12 champ. I mean, that's the other thing. Like Rodney Terry, what if he goes and wins the Big 12? And I know people, I guess in college basketball don't care about conference championships, especially Coach Self being out right now. But these are resume things we got to consider. No, y'all agree? Disagree? Does that matter? I would be happy if we won the Big 12 tournament personally, and I think that could put you. If you win the Big 12 tournament and it's the best conference in college basketball, which I think a lot of people agree with. I would say the Big 12 is the best conference in college basketball. Then you definitely should have an outside chance to be a number 1 overall seed, or not number 1 overall seed, but a number 1 seed potentially. If not, you're in that 2 range. And Coach Terry is a good man. Good man. Good man. Not your son's chicken nuggets. CFB picks. It is good to be back. There's a few things I want to say before I bounce, because this was fun and I'm glad I got to do this with y'all and just rap like old times. I needed this. I really, really needed this. Go check out the SEC Connect. So we have a Twitter. I'll retweet it. Also have a YouTube channel, the SEC Connect. Bunch of us on there. Horns Down Podcast, Nino's Corner, Ty from Around the Table Sports, Jay from Unfair Sports. We are putting together a collective. And I know a lot of us, are not legacy SEC guys, but to start having a more collaborative channel where there'll be lives, targeted discussions about the entire conference, and some things that are, kind of looking at just from a more, broader college football landscape. Go check that platform out. It's called the SEC Connect. I'll share that here and I'll have the link in the comments, but we are going to be trying to grow that platform, and that is a collective I have decided to be a part of with my friends over there. So go over there and show some love and trying to get back into the rhythm of things here. Let me know in the comments what you want to hear about. Train will be back on, yes. And I have some other collaborations coming. Some people I have teed up that we've, been talking about and got going. Reggie, my man, SEC Connect, go over there and sub up right now. Go sub up right now. I'm gonna be on there. I'm back. Like I said, I want you to put word out there. We back up. So go ahead and subscribe over there. Make sure you subscribe here. Hit the like button. I appreciate all the love, support, messages, Everything, everything. Dimple Wonder, appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. It was, just to bless this channel. And you guys that invest into the channel, I got to give it back to you. And we have this community here to just talk ball. So Kieran, big time now. He signed with Overtime. My boy Kieran, I'm so very proud of him. And love his growth and progress. So I told Kieran just to remember me when he's accepting his SB or something like that. So we need you back with Ty. Now I know Crispy on his nonsense. That's why we have to have me in there to balance it out. I'll let you guys know if I'm able to make it down for the spring game as well. But hopefully Texas gets that dub tonight and is able to advance to the championship game in the Big 12 tournament. And it's good football talk earlier. Y'all know where I stand now. Hopefully there's no confusion on that. But as I get more caught up on everything, we'll start to go a little bit deeper and dive into certain things and storylines and whatnot. But it was just cool to just be on here and rap with y'all. That's that's the funnest part about this. That's what I love doing. I like I say all the time, I learn just as much from y'all as y'all learn from me. 100. This community is been a blessing in my life, and it's been long overdue to come back, but here we are, March 10th, we'll be back up. So thank you to Last Stand Hats, laststandhats.com/fanatic. Hit that Fanatic 10 promo code. Get 10% off at checkout when you use the promo code. We got stuff coming. All right. I didn't just start this back up happenstance. We got stuff coming. There's stuff in the works, some cool partnerships, cool collabs, just different aspects to support the channel. Nick V, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. I know I take forever to wrap up these lives and videos, but just the just having you guys on here hanging out and discussing things, to have 80 to 100 people in here on a just an afternoon Friday live chat when you guys have time to spend with your families, your significant others. But us here as passionate fans, us here as fanatics, I couldn't be more thankful for it. In all honesty. So, guys, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and pack up. I appreciate everybody that joined the chat today. If you're re-watching the video, hit that like button, subscribe, and we are coming back with just content throughout. So appreciate y'all.